Hi, everybody. It's Wendy from Roselight Astrology, and I could not help myself but do a write-up about Beyonce. And wait, am I sharing recording? Yes, I am. I always do that. Am I recording? Am I not recording? So I couldn't help myself to do a write-up about Beyonce after she broke the record and she made a historical win of 23 Grammys. Congratulations, Beyonce. Okay, so she's actually really pretty easy to write about. So I wrote all this up for this just spontaneous newsletter. So I wrote Leo, baby, even though her sun is in Virgo. And in this video, I'm going to describe that. And then here, I explained all of it. So I'm going to go through that on her chart here, which is right here. Okay, so Beyonce was born September 4th, 1981, on a Friday, day of Venus, interesting, in Houston, Texas. So we see here her ascendant is Libra. This is the ascendant and this is the descendant. So this line here across is the horizon. So when her mom was delivering her, the sun had already risen. It was 10 a.m. Here's the sun in the sky. And so she's a Libra rising. And the interesting thing about her is that she's got Venus right on the ascendant. See this ascendant, which is the same thing as the rising sign, pretty much 20 degrees, 16 minutes. Her Venus is 20 degrees, 13 minutes. So it's only 3 minutes apart, which is nothing in astrology. It's like super close. And then, so we see her, she is like an icon of beauty, and her Venus is with Pluto. So this woman, it's always hard for me to put everything into words. I can write about it much easier. So I'm going to just read through some of this that I already did. So Venus on the rising cusp of a natal chart brings visibility to her beauty, her body, her values, her resources. She'll be noticed no matter what. So like anybody that has Venus on the ascendant, they're going to get a lot of attention, maybe even unwanted attention. And so there it is. It's out there. She is basically holding the symbol of Venus everywhere she goes. And Venus in Libra is about beauty and balance and justice, to say a few words about it. So even if she wasn't famous, she would be noticed. And meaning there's a sense of being exposed in the world because Venus is magnetic and it attracts attention. And with Pluto right on her artistic Venus in Libra, because Venus in Libra is art. It's an excellent placement for Venus, by the way. Pluto exposes all of her Venetian energy onto the world stage, and she's influencing culture, generations of time. She's raw, sexy, powerful, deep. She sings about racism and the raunchy and the ugliness of patriarchy's effect on culture and life. And she's not hiding her feminine prowess, her power, her feminine sexual power. So I know I read something about whether or not she's really a true feminist. In my eyes, she's completely a true feminist because she's not throwing it away and becoming masculine. She's owning that Virgo power, that Virgo essence of her sacred feminine. So she's all about exposing herself because that's what Pluto does. Pluto exposes things, right? So she's all about exposing herself as a means to expose what's underneath culturally, personally. And this woman has depth and demands it to be recognized. She's an advocate for women and girls. And have you heard her sing, "Who Runs the World"? You got to hear that click on that link in the newsletter. One little verse in there is, my persuasion can build a nation. I love the power in her words. Now let's just make sure. Yes, I'm recording. Okay. Makes me nervous that maybe I'm not recording. Okay. All right. So there's a little bit about her Libra, Venus, and Pluto rising. Okay. So, Pluto in Libra is looking for beauty and balance and justice in the world and peace. Libra is also symbolic of the shadow of Libra projecting onto other people, comparing ourselves to others, projecting onto others what they have, what we don't. But also, especially a Venus-Pluto conjunction really can symbolize a state of codependency. And so as a collective, we're breaking free from domination, submission, codependence, and we're learning how to be empowered, sovereign, and interdependent on each other. So one thing I didn't even look at until just now, what we do in evolutionary astrology is we look at phases of planets. So Venus is in a culminating phase to her Pluto, which means on a soul level, she's completing an entire cycle of lifetimes with this Venus-Pluto conjunction. So if Venus was over here on the other side of Pluto, we would say that she is in a new phase, Venus, but she's in a completion phase with Pluto. So she is really harnessing all her power in this life. And man, she's really doing it. Okay. So we see here in the 10th house, she has the North Node. This is the North Node. This is the South Node. She's got the North Node in Leo with Mars, conjunct with Mars. So this is a very powerful symbol. So even though she has this Sun in Virgo, which I'll talk about, she's got the North Node in Leo. And Leo is all about radiance and shining the light so that others can turn their light on. That's the highest purpose of Leo, and creative self-actualization. So really allowing the creativity to come forth, birthing it forward, sharing it with the world, and allowing that to transform the heart, right? Leo's all about heart. So this is what I wrote here. You can hear it in her voice, see it in her stance. She's forceful, she roars, she's hot, she shines, she is creative, producing creatively over and over. She directed, wrote, and produced the Disney film Black is King. Cinematography is stunning, most especially because of the ritual beauty and words sung honoring Black and African culture. It's really beautiful. She also produced, along with numerous other Black artists, the soundtrack to the 2019 release of The Lion King, The Gift, and starred as the voice of Nana. So, I mean, obviously she's done tons of things, but this is one that really stands out to me. So she's helping, and here's my Leo cat who wants to be on film. Okay, she's helping reframe and heal the deepest of wounds collectively by exposing culture through her songs, dramatic flair, and full-on taboo. Breaking taboos in culture. I absolutely love her provocative, shocking, unforgettable, empowering postures of femininity that she offers to the world. Mars with the North Node in the 10th house, house of culture, career, serious commitments, and our social responsibility to shaping society. Her vital, pioneering vitality, Mars, is doing just that. And she's clearly fulfilling the destiny set forth by her North Node in Leo. So what we say about the nodes in a very basic way, the South Node is our past. It's where we're coming from. The North Node is the soul's intent in this lifetime, the destiny, the intended destiny desired destiny in this lifetime. So we're drawing from the past to move towards the future, right? So for me, I have the South Node in Sagittarius. I'm very intuitive. Much easier for me to know things than to actually be able to put it in words. Gemini, that's why it's hard for me to convey things. I'm still like getting my mind wrapped around doing that. So if I write it out, it's much easier for me because I can rely on my knowing, my gnosis, the intuitive part of me, just to pick things up and get it, and I can fly with it. But it's much, it's helping me develop my North Node by writing things out and talking things through. That's very general, but okay. So then we have her sun in Virgo in this 11th house. So the sun is our life force, our solar purpose. It gives fuel through the essence of the sign it's in. For Beyonce, that's Virgo, the sign of the Virgin Priestess, of basically the priestess of magic. She uses her precise, sexy embodiment of the sacred goddess via the house of Aquarius to influence culture, future generations, to embrace their feminine nature by sharing her awakened Shakti force and honoring herself as queen. The other thing about Virgo in the 11th, and she's also, her Venus star point is in Aries in the 6th house of Virgo. We're talking about racism, slavery, menial work, right? That's Virgo. That's not the sun in Virgo, but that's like the South Node in Virgo or the past of Virgo. So she's bringing light to the inequalities in the world, the injustices in the world, Libra and Virgo, and she's shining a light on it from that 11th house, from that awakened consciousness. It's the step after Capricorn. It's the rebellious rebellion, radical waking up so that we can evolve, so that we can bring future generations into the next phase, not the same old, same old. It also represents trauma and Aquarius can represent trauma. And she's got the South Node in Aquarius. So, which also represents long-term memory and our brain. And if we think, and I'll talk about that in the next phase. Okay. So conjoined her sun here is Ceres, the great mother, the grain goddess of harvest. Ceres abducts a part of us that grieves for the virgin daughter that wants to be returned, the daughter of sustenance for the harvest. So Ceres can literally represent abductions, but it represents, I say, in a big collective way, especially in Virgo, that energy of the abduction of the sacred feminine, of the goddess. It also represents food and nourishment, how we feed ourselves and others, what we crave, how we were mothered, how we mother. Beyonce is clearly mothering all of us with her Virgo priestess glory. In a sense, right? She's kind of like a solar feminine, though, not just the lunar, earthy feminine, the earth mother goddess. Ceres Sun Virgo, 11th house, also reflects her ability to organize and choreograph all that she produces on an ongoing day-to-day basis and having a huge impact on the collective. So Uranus, it's everything in the top of the chart is being seen collectively and impacting the collective world. I mean, all of the chart does, but that's just a little piece about that. Okay, then down here, she's got the moon in Scorpio, which is a pretty heavy placement and can really get a lot of projection onto it, right? But this is also like deep sorcery power, feminine power. And it's conjunct Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, the waker-upper, the transmutation planet. So this combination is a wild, emotionally turbulent energy. It's radical, intense, deep, and it propels a shock factor to the collective that catalyzes the people. The moon rules the people. Scorpio wants intensity, intimacy, exposure, raw, truth, power. Why? To get to the root of an issue, to purge what's toxic so it can act as a vehicle for healing and ultimately peace, right? The highest expression of Scorpio, the eagle, the dove, peace, Holy Spirit, healing, right? We're talking water, fixed water. So, this also, both of these, the Venus, Pluto, and the moon, Uranus, speak to her, everything that she puts out there. She's probably had very, very intense relationships and intense attachments in relationships. And they're very, very, very deep. But I'm not really talking so much about her personally today. I'm more looking at her impact on the collective. So there's just two more things here. So she's got Chiron and Taurus over here in the 8th house. And it reflects the deepest wound. In Taurus in the 8th house, it shows a past of not having enough food, shelter, nature, money, resources, ruled by her Venus. This Chiron is the midpoint of her moon Uranus opposition. So see, here's her moon at 20 Scorpio, Uranus 26 Scorpio. Chiron is pretty much 23 would be the exact midpoint, but it's close enough. Let's see, ruled by Venus or Chiron is the midpoint of moon Uranus opposition. So this aspect is electrical. She's a healer. There's a lot of electricity moving through her, and she can use her feminine guiles and wiles to bring a lot of powerful healing onto the planet. Chiron is the bridge between the mundane world and the transpersonal world. She has turned her wounds into medicine, riding the unbridled centaur. Chiron's the centaur, creating an entirely new personal value system and monetary fortune and prosperity for herself and others. Again, by exposing herself, her fullness, her voluptuousness, she has become iconic, a symbol of power, 8th house, Pluto, to merge with. Okay, the South Node in Aquarius here, but really I'm giving a little bit of an overview. It's in the 4th house, which is the house of the moon, the house of home, the house of the tomb. We call it the womb and the tomb. It's the deepest part of the chart down here. 21 Capricorn is the cusp of her 4th house. Collectively speaking, Beyonce desires to purge the collective of its misconceptions of the feminine. Both here, Sun in Virgo, Venus on the ascendant with Pluto. Misconceptions of the feminine, of Black culture, Venus and Pluto on the ascendant, this Uranus, Pluto, Scorpio. And empower herself throughout the process of creative self-actualization and enactment, Leo, by partaking in the reshaping of society to break free from the long-term memories of the horrors of African genocide, torture, and abuse, Uranus, Scorpio, that continues in various numerous ways in the collective. Clearly, not just for herself, her mission is completely tied to doing the same for the collective, touching many, many souls and helping to build anew. These women that have this money, I mean, she's got some powerful influence, right? She and Oprah, they're probably really helping fund many things that are moving the collective forward. Okay, so that is that piece. Now I want to go here. And okay, so here's Beyonce's chart. And this is the full moon chart of Sunday. What the Grammys were Sunday. So a couple things that I want to point out here. One, we have Venus in Pisces, and Venus in Pisces is also exalted. It's a very, very good placement for Pisces. It's transiting, right? It's moving. These planets are moving around the wheel. Her natal chart goes this way. Whoops, goes this way around the wheel. The transits go this way. Okay. So Venus is here. It's in her 5th house of Leo, creativity, children, romance. So she's got this nice aspect here. It's opposing her sun. So it's helping, it's bringing a lot of benefit to her Virgo sun. And we have a lot. So those last eclipses also touched on to numerous pieces for her. But the thing that really stood out to me is her secondary progress chart and her solar arc chart relative to what's happening now. So her progress sun is at 22 Libra. It's right here with Pluto and the sun. This is a very, very powerful transit. So she is really garnering and receiving lots of empowerments currently in her life, in her soul, as this is happening. We've got Venus down here, progressed Venus. It's trining her Mars. It's still trining that North Node, even though it's 7 degrees apart. It's still there. It's moving into a square with the sun, even though that's a hard aspect. That's really, Venus brings a lot of benefit. It's in a sextile, which is also a very nice aspect to her Jupiter, to her Saturn, right? It's really closer to her Saturn, and even her Mercury. So she's receiving the recognition about everything that she's done thus far. She's getting an award, Saturn. Okay, what else is here? Her progressed moon is in opposition to Uranus and her natal moon. I'm not going to go into that so much. The other thing I wanted to show was this. No, that's not it. Okay. So this is her solar arc. So here's her Venus, her solar arc Venus is, sorry, my thing is still not working great. Venus is in an exact trine to her Mars and her North Node. It's really exact with her North Node is going to be there for like a year. I don't know exactly when it started, but that's a really, really nice aspect. All these planets in the 2nd house, the house of money, the house of Venus, the house of accolades. So she's receiving all of that. And what else here? There was a Neptune's on her South Node. It could be like a diffusing of things, but Neptune also rules media and her being an icon. So she's maybe gaining something there from the past. There's something else. Let's see. Sorry, this cursor is so weird. Let's see. All right, I'm just looking here for a second. Come on, Arthur. Arthur wants to be on TV. Let's say hi, Arthur. It's not really TV, it's just a video. Arthur has the North Node in Leo too. Yeah, I have a North Node in Leo too. Okay. Look at that. Mars is right on her sun. Okay, can't stay up there though, boo. All right, well, there's plenty that could be said. I'd need more time to look at that, but I was fascinated by her chart and everything that's happening for her right now. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy this little tidbit about her and, yeah, it definitely lighting things up, for the world and for her. I was just so fascinated by some of the, I know that she can be a little raunchy for people and maybe it's too vulgar and she's too like out there with her body and kind of like a very provocative, obviously, way. But I really think that she's breaking so many taboos and she's really modeling another way to like own your Shakti and not have it overpower you and not suppress it, not push it down, not pretend like it's not there, right? So yeah. And anyway, so all right, take it easy.